2, 1. It's good to fucking meet you, dude.
It's good to meet you too, Noah.
It is good to meet you. Cheers, brother. Thank you for coming in. Thank you very much.
Dude.
So, like I was saying before we started, these mics, it's just not cheap, as you guys know.
Oh, absolutely.
But what I've found, and I tell people this, I mean, I can't really speak to the music aspect because I don't dabble in that at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know nothing about music production. And I've sat with a couple of producers. I've sat actually with the sound guy for Marble. Marble
cool.
Downtown. His name's Carlos. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable. But, like, I don't know shit about production. And the reason why I got sold on these, though, is a buddy of mine who helped me start the podcast. Mm-hmm. He's big into music production. He makes his own music. He does coding. He sits at his desk for 10 hours a day and makes stupid money. He's that
Champion.
guy. Yeah.
Champion.
He's that guy. And so he was like, look, you can... Like, there's nothing wrong with getting these still great, still good mics that are like $100 to $150, $200, but you're going to need some audio engineering on the back end. You're going to need some mixing. You're going to need some cleanup.
Right.
You set these up properly and you get yourself a decent studio space. Mm-hmm. You are paying for everything in one fell swoop. And I was like, I'll do that. And thankfully, it wasn't all me. Like, I had some help in getting this stuff for sure because you guys know how fucking expensive this shit can get.
Audio equipment adds up so fast. Something that I tell the people who listen to my band and people who are like curious into getting into music, especially the drumming side, is, don't quit your day job because this shit is not cheap, man. Albeit I drive a used car that has high miles, but I spent more on my drum kit than I did on my car.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I know. These microphones, you've got a very nice setup here, and I'm just seeing the dollar signs. So I get it, dude. And honestly, from my perspective, audio equipment, like band and music equipment, is not too far off from what you've got here. Maybe the back end of things is slightly different. I don't know if you're using any kind of like digital
not at all
workstation.
Honestly, because thankfully I was pointed in the right direction,
right,
where I was like, okay, these are the good starters. And then I've got the under the table I have the cloud lifters.
Oh yeah,
they have to connect those two so it doesn't burn that out.
Sure.
And so in that it's funny, I recorded, I think, like me just saying nonsense for 30 seconds without a cloud lifter directly into that, and I put it on the PC, and it was just blown out.
Yeah, all kinds of artifacting.
I was like, oh, shit. Okay, I need to spend the money. So thankfully I had gotten these with the bundle and shit. So, But so you are the drummer for a fucking kick-ass band that a lot of more people need to know about.
Dude, thank you, man.
I'm a big, I like, well, I can't say I like all music because I still haven't come around the country yet, but I have not come around.
Yeah.
I'm working on it, but I have not come around.
All you need to do is date a girl who listens to country, man. I date a girl who listens to country. Shout out Maddie. I love her. But it's tough. I listen to very aggressive music. I see you've got a To The Grave shirt on. Those guys are sick.
I fucking love To The Grave.
They're awesome.
They're coming in October.
Oh, really?
I cannot. They're coming with Carnifex.
Oh, that's right. Hey, we opened for Carnifex in 2021.
Oh, shit.
That was Carnifex's first tour back from the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
The first stop was at Launchpad, and it sold out in like 2 weeks. I think that Launchpad and their management gave us 50 tickets, and they were gone in like 2 weeks.
I'm proud to announce that the podcast is now officially sponsored by the fine people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, this is some of the best chili you can get here in the state of New Mexico, and they are online as well as in stores. They can be found at Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, John Brooks, and Lowe's Corner Market. They have 3 amazing flavors that you see here, and they also have frozen green chili that you can get online. Go on over to the website, chopchilico.com, and get yourself some amazing chili today. I think
it was an unprecedentedly quick.
Who is coming to launch? There's a big name coming to Launchpad. Well, because I know Bless the Fall is coming.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to that because that concert is based around the Hollow Bodies album, and that is
one of their best albums.
Insane to me.
Yeah.
I saw a flyer for that, and little 15-year-old me was like, no way.
Yeah.
But there's another band coming, and I don't think it's Carnifex that's coming, because Carnifex is coming to, I think it's Sunshine,
Yeah, it's Sunshine.
With To The Grave.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for that because To the Grave was supposed to come in March.
I believe that's correct.
And then they got their whole tour canceled because the lead singer, he had issues with his vocal cords. And
R.I.P.
I saw that and I was like, well, I remember Avenged Sevenfold back in 2018,
right,
with M Shadows.
Right. He had just blown out his voice.
Well, he had like polyps or something.
Something going on where he couldn't sing like at 100%.
Yeah.
To the Grave.
Cannot
super
wait.
sick. Yeah. And I'm in the same boat. You know, I haven't quite entirely come around to country music, but the more my girlfriend puts on me, I find there's more and more that I like. My friend Pablo, he used to play drums in a band called Chelsea Grin. Yeah, he was the guy.
Casual name drop for all the metalheads out. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, good buddy of mine. We've worked together
What the fuck?
We worked together on my other band's album. I used to be in a band called Nocturnal Curse, and he produced and mixed and mastered that album. He also produced, mixed and mastered, and engineered the upcoming Inhuman Hands stuff.
Okay.
He put me on this band called Lakeview, who's got like this kind of country but also like heavier sound.
Interesting.
They've got a few songs I think Cody from Wage War helped out with.
No,
and they're actually pretty heavy, dude.
Live.
Yeah, Wage War. I saw them live in April with Spite and Nothing Nowhere in Denver.
Would be fucking sick.
Spite was next level. Dude.
I would kill to see them
I
live.
lost my shit. They were super heavy. They sounded awesome. Nothing Nowhere. They were kind of like a new metal kind of rap metal kind of thing. Sounded great. You know, I'd never really listened to them, but then Wage War. You know, Wage War comes on and
that's crazy.
Like 4 or 5 songs into their set, they play Low.
Oh, nice.
I have never cried louder at a show. I have a lot of when it comes to music, I get really sentimentally and like emotionally attached to certain songs via, you know, who shows them to me, like the kind of like mental state I'm in when I'm discovering it. And Low came about when I was at a kind of like turning point in my life, right as I was going through a really bad breakup, and it just blew my mind. But Wage War must see for sure. They are incredible.
It's crazy how music does that. Like music really is its own language. It can I think there's actual don't quote me on this because I don't read very much. But what I do read and what I do look into, like there's studies that have been done where it's like music where people like they did this control group where these people were asked like to listen to music that they tied to, like you were just saying, like they were going through a traumatic phase of their life.
Sure.
Loss of a loved one, loss of a relationship, loss of a job, like whatever it was that really, whenever they listen to that music, they feel like lesser, right? They get all those emotions start coming back.
It has a very like intense impact on
it. Was like, changing their like the what's it called, like the like when people get a brain scan and it shows like where all the chemicals are firing and like what parts of the brain are lighting up, what's going dark, it literally changed that in them.
Yeah.
As they were listening to that music. And I think that's so like I'll listen as I have since I was maybe 19-ish, maybe even 18, but for a few years now, I've been making a new playlist of music that I find every year. Mm-hmm. And so now when I go back and I listen to stuff that's like the back half of college or when I just turned 21 or stuff like that, I was like, I listen to that music and I feel that age again. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like just as stupid again. And I'm like, wow, I reflect on that time of my life and I was like, man, I was making dumb decisions back then. Holy shit.
I've been there, done that, man. It's funny you know how Spotify has their whole Wrapped thing.
Yeah.
I use YouTube Music, and they just started doing like somewhat of the same kind of thing.
Oh, neat.
And my like YouTube year, I guess, summary of what I spent most of my time listening to from 2021 to 2022 is like night and day. It is so different. Like it's a lot of metal, which is like 90% of what I listen to, but you know, the like lyrical content of those songs and like the kind of atmosphere those songs have and create over the listener from 2021 to 2022, it's like almost entirely different. Like 2021, bad breakup, you know, hardships at my job, some familial kind of things. And then 2022, for the most part, was like a really good year for me. We did a lot of really cool stuff with the band. A lot of really good things came my way that I'm grateful for. And the lyrical and like atmospherical content of the songs I spent a lot of my time listening to is almost entirely different. I found myself listening to a lot of instrumental stuff in 2022. And as cocky as this might be, I spent most of my time listening to my own band in 2022. I was trying to get really fresh on the songs.
Yeah.
We had a new EP late 2022 that we recorded with my friend Pablo. I wanted to spend as much time as I could listening to those songs and just like embedding them into my muscle memory and committing them to my catalog of just stuff that I've got up in my brain, you know.
That's probably a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Oh no, I any artist who's listening,
Yeah.
you know, I'd recommend that you just listen to your own music over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I feel
Because-
like it's one thing to practice it.
Oh,
and it's
it's-
one thing to run it through with the band.
No, absolutely. Those are two entirely different things.
Right. And to listen to the final product, and I feel like if you listen to it with the right, like, literally with the right ear and the right mindset, you track progress or lack thereof.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. In our case with Inhuman Hands, you know, we went into the studio with Pablo. We banged out 5 incredible songs, and there were parts on those songs that Pablo had like a good amount of contribution to. And some of that we had like already played, we'd already practiced, but some of it was totally new. And I just wanted to be like 100% ready to go. You know, I wanted it to be like second nature, like breathing or like, you know, getting the crusty out of your eye or whatever, you know, like bad examples.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect,
I
yeah.
wanted it to be like, I don't even think about it, you know?
Yeah, complete and total muscle memory.
Oh, absolutely.
And muscle memory that you can trust, too.
Yeah, because what good is it if you're on stage in front of hundreds of people and the muscle memory you've got is wrong and it's, you know, it damages the song's like kind of presence live. You know, I've been there and I've done that. I'm opening for Carnifex, actually.
Oh, shit. What happened?
We had just put out, at that point, it was 2 new singles. And then Inhuman Hands has an album before I was involved that I'd love to talk to here in a minute.
Yeah.
But we had 2 new singles. I knew every song, right? And we'll get into why I know all those songs so well. But we were playing through amps, using like the FOH. You know, drums were mic'd up, and that was it.
It's for people who don't know a whole lot of lingo, FOH is.
Front of house.
Okay.
Right. So basically, the amps were just plugged into. You know, they were mic'd up. Those mics were running through Launchpad's system.
Yeah.
The vocals were going through Launchpad's system. The drums had microphones on them. I don't think I had a bass drum trigger yet at this point. And I got super nervous, dude. It was a completely sold out show.
Yeah.
Everyone, we were right before I forget their name. Uncured, I think is what they were. They were the other touring act. That was
Oh,
on the
dude,
bill.
shout out to Uncured,
Yeah,
man.
those guys are awesome.
If they see this,
Yeah.
I was messaging them
Yeah.
like a while back because
Get Uncured in this shit.
I found their stuff and I don't know what they went through and they didn't tell me because obviously they couldn't legally.
Sure.
But they went through some issues with the licensing of their old music.
Ooh.
And
Rip.
yeah, and so I fell in love with one of their albums I think it's called Pandemic.
All right, that tracks.
And because they have a song in there called Conquistador, where it's
also
super
tracks.
heavy
Yeah.
and then it goes like to the melodic, like acoustic guitar,
Right.
And it breaks down again. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I would like I didn't think they'd ever message me back.
Oh,
So
man.
one night I messaged them and I was like, where the fuck is Pandemic on Spotify?
Oh, dude.
Like, I'm so sad
Yeah.
it's off. And like 2 months later, they're like, we can't talk about it, but yeah, sorry. And I was like, oh shit.
They got
And I was
issues
telling
with
them, I
the
was like,
distributor or something.
yeah, I think
Something
so.
along those lines. If I had to speculate.
Yeah. And then I was like, hey, like, I don't know if you guys ever go on tour, but like, if you ever come through Albuquerque, I'm fucking there. And like, yeah, it's awesome. 6 months later, they're like, we're coming in 3 months to Albuquerque.
Were they opening for Butcher Babies at the Sunshine Theater?
Probably.
My band opened that show as well.
That sounds right. Yes, it was Bircher Babies.
And
Yes.
I will say, Uncured, man, their flavor of metal might not be my favorite, but they are insanely good performers. and they are insanely talented songwriters.
And I had tickets and I was going to go to the show and I fucking got COVID.
Oh.
And I was down for the count.
Oh man.
I didn't do this, but I even had the thought process in my brain of like,
should I just go? Mask up and just go?
It's like 99.9% survival.
I'm glad you didn't.
But I had that thought. I was like, fuck.
I've been there too.
Fuck, I don't want to miss this show. And then I couldn't even get out of bed the next day. And I was like, fuck, that really sucks.
Yeah.
But because I've seen Butcher Babies live as well. They came through years and years ago with Hollywood Undead. And I saw that show. And those chicks are murderers.
Yeah. No, they...
crazy live.
They caught me off guard for sure. We played, and then Uncured played, and then Butcher Babies goes on. I don't know if you've ever listened to bands like Viljarda or like Humanity's Last Breath that kind of have that like thal kind of sound.
I haven't, no.
Thal is characterized as like kind of like, in layman's terms, it's like that gent kind of sound, but like slower, more melodic, weird time signatures, right?
Yeah.
So Butcher Babies, right? They go on and they got this song. I think it's called "They're Coming to Take Me Away."
Yeah.
Something along those lines, right? They open with that, and here comes bro with an 8-string guitar. And I'm like, for Butcher Babies, bro? Like, okay, let's see where this goes. And at the end of this song, they just have this extremely heavy, super down-tuned, like very Thal-esque breakdown. And Carla and Harvey, gorgeous women, right? Ex-Playboy models, at least Carla is.
Oh, I had no idea. That makes complete sense.
Right, exactly.
If you're watching, hello.
Shout out Butcher Babies. They were awesome. We actually hung out with them after that show.
That's cool. That's cool.
They come on, dude, and they got this breakdown, and it's like the heaviest fucking thing. And I'm just standing there like, what is even this right now? You know, my band, Inhuman Hands, we have thal tendencies. We've got parts that are like really slow, grindy.
Right, yeah.
You know, just very bludgeoning kind of sound. And Butcher Babies, man, that one little snippet, bro, was so sick. And then they did a cover of, I think it's a Doja Cat song. That's my best friend. She's a real bad. They covered that shit, dude.
What the fuck?
It was so good, and it was so heavy. And the two chicks doing it, like, just...
That's crazy.
Yeah. But, yeah, we've gotten a lot of really cool show opportunities over the years. We did Butcher Babies at Sunshine Theater. We opened for Carnifex for their first show back from COVID. We opened for Silent Planet about 2 months after that.
Sick.
And then last year, quite possibly my favorite Inhuman Hands show to date is we opened for Rivers of Nile, which is one of the coolest.
I didn't know they came through here.
Oh,
what
man.
the fuck?
They were, I think at this point, they were on like a tour of the U.S. with The Contortionist. And they couldn't find a venue here. So Rivers of Nile, they're passing through and they wanted to just do a headliner.
Yeah.
And the second that I saw that they were coming through with no other support on, I think it was Instagram, here I am getting with my people saying, hey, ain't no support on this one, you know, how's about it? And we got to do it. And not only was it like one of the best sets that I think we've had in a long time, if not ever, not to say we've peaked, but our best one so far, I guess. Rivers of Nile are absolutely incredible. Another band I want to shout out. They are among the best like death metal bands in the world.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I would. Yeah, I don't think that's really in question.
they were playing
Oh, yeah, they're
The
great.
Work, their album The Work in its entirety. And then for the encore, they came out and they do I always forget the name, The Silent Life. Right? They come out and they do that and they got this lyric in there and I realize my work is never truly done. Right? So they have this whole long album called The Work where thematically they have this motif where they're like, do the work. I know it hurts, but you have to. Like that's a line they repeat multiple times. And then in The Silent Life, he says, and I realize my work is never truly done or something like that. And that like just the thematic elements of it all and the way they sounded. And oh my God, it was easily... It would either have to be that or our most recent headline show at Launchpad. We had about, I would say probably like 80% capacity of the Launchpad, which for us is amazing. The community really pulled up for that one, and we had like a whole beach kind of theme going on. And we wore matching lifeguard shorts and Inhuman Hands lifeguard
I think I saw that on
t-shirts.
Instagram.
Yeah, you probably did. I've posted so many pictures from it. And just our sound, our stage presence, like everything about it was just amazing. And I'm forever grateful I get to do this. Like,
So for people listening that are, regardless of what genre of their music they're in, but they see bands coming through to these venues, and you're getting attached to like to the death metal fans that are listening right now. Those are huge names.
they are.
How, like, as much as you can talk about it business wise, how do you guys go about building those relationships? Because I'd imagine it's through management and through venues.
A lot of it for us, at least until this point, has been through people at the launch pad, people at Sunshine, and for their privacy, I'm not going to name any names, but a lot of it for people who are looking to do the same kind of thing, it's just send a message. Like the worst thing they could do is not reply or say no. And I've been told by the people who help book us, always ask. Anytime there's a possible opening opportunity on any kind of show I think we'd fit really well on, I just ask. That's all I do. I draft a message, carefully worded, professionally, right? And I just ask. And what are they going to tell me? They're going to either say no, or they're going to be like, yeah. Do you guys want to sell tickets for that? Like, hop on, let's get it going. In fact, there was another show announcement not too long ago that I can't talk about yet, but alls we did was ask. I was like, hey, I see there's only X amount of bands on this one. Can we open? And, my guy was like, yeah, absolutely.
What venue? Can you say what venue?
I can say that it's on Central Avenue near First Street, and it starts with an S and ends with Unshine. But I won't name any names for their sake. I don't want I don't want y'all flooding their inboxes.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But, man, all you got to do is just be like, hey, that's how we got the Carnifex show when they were coming through in 2021. Is they posted Carnifex, they posted on Instagram. They says, we're doing this little run. I think they were on their way out to like Rockfest, Wisconsin, somewhere. I forget where it is.
Oh, yeah.
They called the tour the Road to Rockfest, right? So they're playing a handful of headline shows on their way out there. And they even put in their caption, who are some good locals in these areas that you guys want to open.
That's so fucking cool.
And so I told all the homies, I was sitting at my desk and I was like, I need every one of you to go to this post, tag Inhuman Hands, right? Tag our profile and say, have these guys open in Albuquerque. And then we got an overwhelmingly large amount of people to comment on that post. And I just sent a message to those people and I was like, hey, we got people in these comments right now saying we should open. How's about it? And they made it happen. There were actually 3 locals on that show. It was, no, there were 2. No, there were 3. It was Tommy. Shout out those boys. They got a new EP out, Until It Bleeds, I think is what it called. Amazing EP. Centennial, super heavy.
We love Centennial here. Esteban, what's up, homie?
Yeah,
Esteban, we love Centennial.
Thomas, dude, those guys are fucking
guy.
Awesome.
I had a great conversation with
I have no doubt, man.
With Esteban.
I think that's actually what connected me and you. I was like, hey, I seen Esteban on your show. But it was us, them, and Tommy. And then Uncured and Carnifex. And we each got 30 minutes, bro. And it was just, all you got to do is ask.
That's awesome.
That's literally how I'm in Inhuman Hands, actually. In 2014, I was a junior in high school. And 94.1 FM, 94 Rock, used to do this thing called the Local Zone. And from, I think, 10 to 10:30 or 10:30 to 11, they do a half hour of just New Mexico metal music to try to put people on, right? There's awesome. A lot of undiscovered talent here, and it's kind of sad. But
yes.
And the Local Zone was very good at shedding light on that. There were tons of other bands on there that I came to love. Illumina AD was on there. Wow. And of course, as soon as I go to name names, I forget, right? But so Inhuman Hands was on there. They had this song on there called Concepts. And that was right. I think it was actually the last song that was played right before they transition into like the metal shop or whatever, which is where they just play big name, like Killswitch Engage, right? All Remains, Carnifex, bands like that, bands of that caliber. And so here I am thinking that this band that I just loved and just heard and am obsessed of already they were on this Metal Shop channel. Surely they've got to be massive, right? So I looked them up, and I found the album, and I was obsessed. I had no idea they were even from Albuquerque. And I was obsessed, bro. I listened to it probably every day for like a year before I even knew that they were a local band.
That's funny.
And so when I found out, naturally, I'm all, hey, I'm in the DMs on Facebook, like, hey, when's the next show? Can I buy a t-shirt? Can I buy a CD? You know, I want to support. And this dude named Jace replied. And he said, oh, well, we actually just broke up. We kind of dissolved, but I personally am looking for a drummer and a guitarist to start another band. And so I was like, well, shit, I play drums, you know. Drummers around here are a rarity, it would seem. You know, every drummer around here is in at least 1 or 2 bands.
That's the funny things I've noticed is a lot of bands here, mostly for better, they share bandmates.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere.
Because as much like how there's a lot of undiscovered metal bands, there's also kind of a shortage for people to be in these bands. So I've known probably at least 5 other people who are in at least 2 bands locally.
Yeah.
Right. And that was me for a while. At one point I was in 3 bands. But I discovered Inhuman Hands, you know, I sent the DM, old boy was like, hey, we just broke up. And I'm thinking, okay, well, let's play drums or let's play together. Let's see where it goes. And that turned into a band that, my first band ever, actually, called Lucid Anomaly. It was like a intervals, polyphia kind of instrumental metal kind of thing.
Listened to them in a while.
Dude,
Polyphia.
right? Remember when Polyphia was good?
But
Anyway,
no, seriously, when they were huge and they were great, and yeah, oh my god.
So I was in that band for I think 5 years, and we released an EP that we did entirely ourselves. We spent literally zero money on it. We had no good equipment. I used an electric drum set to record the drums on 1 track.
Beautiful.
Which any of my audiophile friends here, any of my producer friends here, having all of the drums on 1 bus, on 1 track, right? Everything. Nightmare for mixing.
Yeah.
So it didn't sound very great. And about a year after we put that out, the previous vocalist from Inhuman Hands, his name was Ryan. He decided, hey, I kind of want to get the gears going again. Is everyone available? And I guess their drummer had moved to Texas and was just like, he couldn't be far enough away from it. You know, at least that was my understanding. Yeah. It could be different, but it played out so that I got asked to be in Inhuman Hands. And I was literally obsessed with them for the longest time. They had that album Concepts that I was talking about earlier. And every single song on that album just completely captivated me. I loved all the drumming. I was intimidated by it. It's a lot of really fast, kind of like blasting. And shout out the previous drummer, Mike, dude. He's an animal. And it's one of the coolest albums ever. And I'll stand by that until I die. Truly. But I got asked to be in one of my favorite bands. And now we're writing music together. We've got 4 singles out. We got an EP coming out later this year. We got a single next month. And it's just incredible. Like it's literally the coolest thing of all time.
So you get asked to join the band, and you join in 2014.
No. I joined the band. We got it going again in 2019.
2019. You listened to it for a year with the album, got obsessed with it. Time passes. Okay.
Right. So
how long are you regularly like writing and practicing music, and then COVID hits?
Oh, so I've been in bands and playing drums like professionally.
Yeah.
Since 2015, since Lucid Anomaly, right?
Right.
In 2018, I joined a band called Nocturnal Curse. Shout out Hunter and Carlos, my old bandmates from that band. We did an album together, a full-length album with Pablo from Chelsea Grin. He's actually featured vocally on a song.
That's sick.
Song slaps. It's called 16 Hours. Shameless self-plug. That's another thing you got to do if you're a musician around here is you just got to plug everybody. And if you're not your number one fan, what are you doing?
Right. No, I agree.
So I was doing that for a cool minute, and then it was like October, November-ish. I forget, dude. It all just blends together. 2019, Inhuman Hands reunites. I start playing drums with them. I meet Steve-O, the guitarist, Chris, the other guitarist, Ryan, the vocalist, and I already knew Jace, right? We were already in a band together. And we get going, and then COVID hits, and we had a whole show planned. We had spent so much time and money preparing for that show. We had tickets in hand, and right as the lockdown gets announced, we're like, oh, well, surely it'll be done. But I think the lockdown hits in March. We were going to do the show in July.
Yeah.
And we're all thinking, yeah, totally, it'll be done by then.
Dude, that's
And
exactly what I was thinking
Right.
too.
I think, I don't want to speak for everybody. I think that's what we were all thinking.
Well, because I remember I was talking to one of my friends, and she's real big into like going to like the summer circuit for the country shows out in Isleta.
Oh, yeah,
and
there's
she was
so
like,
many.
And she was like, we're gonna lose. Like the summer's not gonna happen. None of the shows, the country's gonna come. And I was like, no, listen. Hey.
Right.
I don't like country, and I'm telling you, you're gonna get you might get one in August, back of August, September.
Right.
You'll be okay.
We were all optimistic.
And then
thinking-
no.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. There was literally no shows whatsoever.
What really
For a good reason, but
yeah. But what really like made me think, I remember sitting at my desk, because I was in Texas at the time, and I was sitting at my desk just watching the news.
Right.
Trying to keep up, like, what the heck is going
Right.
on?
And something massive changes almost every day.
Well,
Right.
I'm not a big, like, I'm not huge into sport. Well, I really like football. I like watching football. I can't keep up with it for shit. But I like watching a game. But I'm not big into the NBA.
Okay.
But I know how big the NBA is.
Right. And then when NBA
And when
was like,
they
hey,
shut
we're
down,
done.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh no.
I know. Dude, I had tickets to go see, I think it was We Came as Romans playing the To Plant a Seed album.
Oh,
In
shit.
full, right? It was like the anniversary tour. I had tickets to go take somebody I was seeing to see them in Denver. And her and I were like, oh, yeah, COVID, whatever.
Yeah.
And then one day we're sitting watching the news, and it's all over the news, right? NBA's canceled.
Yep.
Indefinitely pausing the season until further notice. And her and I just kind of looked at each other. She was in the medical field. She was actually a respiratory tech. And she looks at me and she was like, yeah, that's get your refund or try to sell the tickets. That's not happening. But Inhuman Hands, man. Even my other band, Nocturnal Curse, we put out our album April 17th, 2020, a month into the lockdown, thinking, oh, yeah, it might be a couple months till we play some shows. Our first show back wasn't until June 2021.
Damn.
Yeah. And in Human Hands, we had all these grand designs, big plans to play at a lot of venues and to, get the gears turning again. And COVID just put an immediate halt to everything.
Yeah.
For good reason. I'm glad that happened. There were things that would have been bad if we would have played it. Like, I don't think we had enough time under our belts.
Yeah.
I think that we were kind of rushing into it and our egos were kind of getting the best of us. Like, yeah, we're back. We need to play a big ass show. It needs to be awesome. And it didn't happen. So it was kind of a blow to the morale, a little bit of a blow to the ego, but I'm glad it happened. People were able to recover. The vaccine got, I'm not trying to be, trying to be political.
No, yeah.
We got to resume life as we know it for the most part, right? Things are always going to be different, but
yeah. Well, no, I see what you're saying, and it's times like that when you're doing something creative. And now, obviously, the COVID thing was so unique in nature, but in general, there's going to be times where you're going to have to stop doing what you're doing, or there's major roadblocks, or there's just like a life happens,
right?
And it's like, well, how bad do you want this,
right?
Like, how bad do you actually? Is this a hobby for you? Is this a fun side thing, or is this something you actually care about?
Right.
And if you care about it, well, it's time to show it.
Right.
And stuff like that. When that happens, it's like, well, how hard have you been working on it?
Right.
How much time have you been dedicating to it? Because when you get tested like that, it's going to show.
In Human Hands, we have spent, all five of us, an ungodly amount of time on this. And the way I always phrase it to people is, people are always talking about that phrase, you can have your cake and eat it too, or it's just icing on the cake, right? My cake is literally going and playing my drums with my boys, unwinding after a day at my day job, right? Because being in a musician, being in a band that's wanting to go places, it's a whole ass job. You have to put forth time and money and careful consideration into things like that. And we have put in so much time and money and effort and consideration. But to me, the cake itself is getting to go play my drums with my boys. We have a beer. We just unwind after a long, hard day. That's why I do it. People are like, oh, so it's a hobby band. And I'm like, well, my cake's got icing on it too, right? We play these awesome shows. We almost sold out Launchpad on a headliner in June. You know, it pays for itself. You know, making merchandise, CDs, advertising, marketing, all that shit costs so much money.
It ain't cheap.
It is not cheap, much in the way that we were talking about how gear isn't cheap, dude. The other costs associated with being in a band, unfortunately, are astronomically high.
Yeah.
It's for someone who, you know, is like middle class, works 50 hours a week and tries to do this, like it is taxing. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of time, effort, planning. It's worth it, you know. Everyone wants icing on their cake. But I always tell people, you know, the reason I do it is so I can sit down after a day at work. I can just play my fucking drums and just have a good time. You know, it's just me and the band. I got my in-ears in. I'm behind my Pearl Crystal Beat kit, and I'm just going off. I'm having a good time. That's why I do it, you know. Being able to play the shows and spread the music to the people, be it here or across the country or even the world, actually. We've had a lot of listeners in Europe recently. Low-key flex, like that's been really cool. That's the icing on the cake. You know, all of that is just extra. And, you know, everyone loves icing. Personally, I'm like, give me this much cake and like this much icing, right? But that's the real like driving force behind it is I just get to spend good time with people I really care about, doing something I really care about. That we all really care about. You know, everyone in Inhuman Hands right now, we all absolutely love doing what we do. You know, we had a little bit of a roadblock with our old vocalist Ryan, and he's no longer with us. But in lieu of that, we got a guy named Jared to come on board. Shout out Jared. I know he's watching this right now. I guarantee you he'll watch the whole thing. And I just get to do the coolest things ever. You know, I get to open for Rivers of Nile.
Yeah, that's wild.
And Carnifex and Butcher Babies with people that I love and care about. Like, that's undefeated. I wouldn't trade it for a damn thing.
And see, if you guys all keep that mindset, and you couple that with a vision of like actual, you know, visions of grandeur, that'll take you places because y'all have the skill to do it.
Right.
Like you guys don't sound like a fucking garage band. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you guys are highly produced. Yeah. Fucking disgusting shit.
Thank you,
like, dude. Yeah, it's fucking like I was shocked. I'll be honest. Like, cause I saw, it's like, oh fuck yeah, I'm always here for local music.
Sure.
Of all degrees, of all genres.
Right.
Like I'm not the biggest into like funk music or like more like long form instrumental music, and I've become great friends with people that in the Mango Cakes. They're a local band here.
Those guys are awesome.
And they're the shit.
Yeah.
They're not the type of, and they know this, I've said it to their face.
Right.
They are not the type of music I want to put on a normal like drive to work. That's more you guys.
Sure.
But you know, I love it because they are well produced and they're local. So I love supporting them, and I've become friends with them.
Support local for days.
So I was like, oh shit, a local fucking heavy metal deathcore band. Let's go. And then I pressed play and I was like, are they local? Like,
see, that is literally the reaction I had when I fired up Concepts when I heard it on 94 Rock. I heard this shit and I was like, surely this isn't local, right?
Yeah.
I mean, part of what made it stand out, and something else I've really been diving headfirst into, is the production of it. You know, the quality of the sound. You want to be represented as best as you sonically are able to.
Yes.
Right? You know, ripping recordings off a phone, I'm all for that. But like the shit I'm trying to have people hear.
Yes. I feel that. I'm the same way.
The songs, you know, I'm sure you could record this podcast off your phone and it would sound all right. You know, and the content of it would be great regardless. But you spent the time, you got the extra production means, you got these awesome SM7Bs, you got the cloud kickers under the desk, you know. Having that for the music too is unparalleled. Like, that is something we really pride ourselves on, is we actually engineer ourselves.
Shit.
All of our recordings are all done in-house, and then most of the time, if not all the time actually, for each one of our releases we have outsourced mixing and mastering. For this most recent thing that we did with Pablo, he mixed and mastered and produced some of it. But before that, we had a guy, Nick Botello, mix and master us. He's done All Shall Perish, Animus, tons of other bands. Animus. My first venue show ever actually was opening for Animus.
Nice.
And they are one of the sickest like deathcore, like death bands ever. And you know, they were doing the same kind of thing. You know, they did an album. They're starting to get their name out. They're going on tour, right? And now they're signed to Nuclear Blast.
Yeah.
Alongside bands like Fit for an Autopsy and As I Lay Dying. And, you know, that's the goal eventually. Mm-hmm. You know, I say, yeah, I want my cake. All the shit's the icing, right? But how cool would it be? You know, I roll up to work one day like, hey, guys, like, y'all got me for 2 more weeks. And then I'm going on like a 90-day world tour, you know? How cool would that be? That would just be like, for me, for any musician listening, I would love to be told that wouldn't be like a dream come true. Like, how cool would it be to be like, yeah, so I can go do my music now. I can go tour. It's going to support me and provide me and my loved ones financial support. And I literally get to do what I love in front of people in new cities every night. Like, that is the goal, ultimately.
Yeah.
It's a slow process. You know, we've been playing together again for almost 4 years.
Keep going. I'm just going to check the cameras.
Yeah. No, go ahead. And it's just been... It is a slow process, like I was saying, but the more you piece away at it and the more you kind of like begin to steamroll that energy, it's hard to stop. And you, to a point, you don't want to stop. You know, I would hate to completely quit playing shows and putting out music. That would be like the worst thing that could possibly happen, among others. You know, there would be like a death of a loved one, like girlfriend, Maddie dumps me or something, and then like the band just quits, right? That's like nightmare fuel for me. And just kind of getting the ball rolling and continuing the flow of success and like the people going to our Spotify and like coming to our shows, like it's been incredible. Like,
well, you know, having what you're passionate about taken away from you, that is a real fear. That is a real fear, and that for whatever reason it is, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And but it's that fear of, and I think with all good things in your life, is that fear of loss that makes you care about it, makes you keep nurturing it, taking care of it, and moving forward with it. Because I completely agree. I mean, if I couldn't do this anymore, I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Suck.
And then like I'm like dipping my toes into doing stand up. Yeah. And
you would make a great comedian. I just get that vibe. Like, you would make an awesome comedian.
Thank you. I went to I appreciate that. I do. I went to here at the local, because they just opened a comedy club here.
Yeah, Dry Heat.
Yeah, Dry Heat.
Yeah.
So they opened up in like 2021, I think. So their first year. Was it 22? I forget. Anyway. Well, I got invited to one of their writing sessions they were having on Sunday, so I went, and yesterday really wasn't more of a writing session, it was a class, and the guy who was giving the class, Steph Darnell, fucking hilarious guy.
Yeah.
If you like going out to watch stand-up comedy, he's the dude. Like, he's one of the best comedians out there right now.
I have no doubt.
He is phenomenal, and he was giving a class on how to deal with hecklers.
Oh, perfect.
And so I had my first stand-up show where he was headlining it, and this was like 3 weeks ago, I think. Mm-hmm. And so he was giving the class, and he had me go up. I was the comic that went up last.
And you had a professional comic try to heckle you?
No, he did heckle me.
Oh my God.
And yeah, so I don't get like he's like a fucking shark. He smelt blood in the water,
and just
because I didn't even expect to do it. Like, I was expecting just to go and absorb and like watch what's going on and like really like. Cause that's what I like doing. I like listening and I like absorbing information, ingesting that, and figuring out how to point that in the right direction with what I'm trying to do.
Right.
But he's like, "All right, your turn. You're last." And I was like, "Fuck." And then so I was like, I don't know what set or what bit I'm gonna do. I was like, "Fuck, I'll just do what I know. I guess I know what kind of got laughs the first time, so I'll try it now."
Right.
He smelled blood in the water, and he just went for the jugular over and over and over.
I need some context
here.
Like,
what was
your bit?
So the bit that I had, and I'm still trying to refine it because it's, I think when I did it at my show, it was like a 2-minute bit, but I want to shave it down to 60 seconds. And it's there.
Sure.
I just have to get better with my words, my delivery, and like get to the meat of the concept.
Very similar practice in music too, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. But then you have bands like Dream Theater that go on for like 10 to 15 minutes.
I will not stand for any Dream Theater.
I love Dream Theater.
Okay.
I love Dream Theater.
Okay.
I love it. But it's also like 15 minutes. And it's like, holy
amazing.
How did you guys just do that?
Have you listened to, and we'll get back to that, I promise.
Yeah.
The second disc on the album. It was a double album, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence.
If I saw the, I'm gonna look up the album art because I'm sure I have.
Disc 2 is the title track, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, and it is 6 different, I guess you could call them sections of a 42-minute long song. And there was one time I seen them play, and they played the whole...
What was the album?
6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. They played the whole 42-minute thing, all 6 songs, all back to back without interruption. Absolutely incredible. And then they ended their set with another 19-minute long song called The Count of Tuscany. Just absolutely incredible. I
haven't listened to this.
Absolutely love Dream Theater. Dream Theater and Rush, like top 2.
Rush is phenomenal.
I'm literally named after Alex from Rush.
That's awesome.
My first name's Alex, like Lifeson from Rush.
Yeah.
My middle name is Jordan, like Michael Jordan. My dad was a big Bulls fan when they had me. Alex Jordan Lioce.
Shit.
Rush, Bulls, Italian.
Damn. I have not. I'll listen to this album tonight.
The whole album
I don't
is
think
amazing.
I've heard this. No.
Dude, I'm gonna have to make you a whole ass playlist. Of
Yes,
prog rock,
please.
dude.
Just add that to the fucking library. Anyway, so I get into my set,
Right.
and like, because the concept of the bit is that I'm having sex with my ex-girlfriend, but she's wearing her Apple Watch, and it records an exercise, like a fitness, and it sends it to her mother at 2 a.m. So I'm already nervous getting up there. I'm getting up there in front of brand new people, and you've been to Dry Heat, so it literally goes stage, people.
Right. There's literally no barrier.
Yeah.
You got people literally like 2 feet away from you.
They're right there.
Right.
And so I'm already nervous, and so I'm real rocky starting out.
And you're in front of this guy who's a really good comic.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
and
He's
knows
been doing
what
it for
he's
12 years.
Professional.
And so one of the first lines that I say isn't even part of my bit. It was just my brain trying to get there. Mm-hmm. I was like, you can use your Apple Watch to record. I use it a lot because I like exercising. And he goes, does it look like it? And I was like, fuck.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck. And
yikes.
So, and I was audibly, I was like, man, fuck you. And then he laughed back at that, and I was like, okay, that's something, I guess. So then I kept talking, and then one of the jokes that I have in there is that I'm a gentleman, so I use protection. But instead of talking about a condom, I talk about getting a pillow and a stuffed animal, putting it behind the bed, the headboard, so it doesn't hit against the wall. But I don't get to the describing what protection is part yet. And I go, yeah, so I'm a gentleman. And so I went and grabbed protection, and he goes, simp. And I was like, fuck. And then, so at this point, I completely forget my my train of thought.
Right.
I said, and I don't know if it was a pity laugh or whatever, but I said it, I was like, wow, that's my train of thought. Fuck. And then he lets me, I'm just sitting there for like 10 seconds. That feels like a lifetime.
Right.
And he goes, say something funny. And I'm like, fuck.
Brutal.
Yeah. He goes, hey, make a joke.
Right.
Make a joke already. Like, he's really like, and then one of the comics that was sitting there with us, even he like slumped in his seat, and he's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, holy
Yikes,
shit.
man.
And then to top it off, dude. Top it off. So, there was this girl. She was sitting 2 rows in to the right, and I'm like looking for a lifeline at this point. And she looks at me dead in the eyes, like to my soul, dude. Right. And she goes, "Did you love her?"
I would have not been ready for that. I would have not been ready for that at all.
And then I was like, I sighed, and I was about to answer her question. I was about to be like, yeah, I did. I caught myself, and I was like, fuck you. You almost made me answer the question. Yeah, I fucking loved her. And I slammed the mic stand against the ground. And that bitch cheated on me. And they all started laughing. She did not cheat on me. If you're watching this, you did not cheat on me.
Right.
Because I know she watches the podcast every now and again. But I was like, that's the funniest thing that comes to mind. Right. So I'm just going to fucking yell it and see what happens.
Just take it and roll.
And a couple of them like actually bursted out laughing about it.
Nice.
And
that's a W.
Yeah. And Steph was like, okay, that's funny. Whatever that came from, stick with that.
Right.
And then so I go and sit down, and he goes, yeah, you see how horrible hecklers can be? That's how bad hecklers can be. And I was like, fuck, that's real.
I pray for the day Inhuman Hands has some wise ass in the crowd, some heckler who just has to say some shit.
Yeah.
Because the five of us, when we're on stage, time goes like that.
Yeah.
It's a 45-minute set has gone by for me. And
I'm sure it flies.
Dude, like a couple blinks of an eye, right? I play to a metronome. I know I'm part of what I was saying earlier with that Carnifex show is I wasn't on a metronome. So our first show back, I'm nervous. I'm like playing everything like 125, 150% speed.
Oh, shit.
Right? So now I'm on this metronome. I got the click in my ears. Judge me all you want. Real drummers can play to a click. I said it. But, man, I pray for the day that someone tries to come at us or say something wise from the crowd. Because the five of us, we're just so hopped on adrenaline and caffeine and alcohol when we go on. Not that we're drunk, but, it's got to get a little liquid courage in there,
pre-show,
right?
yeah.
Right. No, I'm one to have a shot of Jameson or something before going on, right? And, man, they're going to have a bad day.
Well, and I feel like most people would be too scared to.
Oh,
because if you're just getting literally screamed at for a show,
Right.
the last thing you want to do is say, hey, fuck you. And then,
Right.
you know what I mean? I don't think that's going to be a thing. I would love to see a heckler at a fucking metal show, though. That would end so poorly.
Oh, I've seen it.
But
I've seen it
it's
a
like
couple times.
Part of the recreation at these shows is these people beat each other up for fun.
Right.
You really want to heckle one of these things, dog?
Right. Yeah.
That's not going to end well for you.
We literally incite violence. And you are going to come at us and try to say something like, I pray for the day. You know, I absolutely love, we've been running ads on Facebook and we've been trying to do some marketing, trying to get the name out there, and that's been really successful. We got listeners in like Germany. We got listeners in the Netherlands now. Metal is so big across that side of the pond. Mm-hmm. And, we're starting to really get this traction going. And online, we've gotten a good amount of like shitty hater comments.
Nice.
And so many of them are just like, we just meme on them.
Yeah.
I think we had some dude say like, oh, well, you tune the guitar solo, it might as well be a bass or something. And I think Steve-O, the guitarist, he just had, I forget what it was, but he had like the best GIF response to it ever. Man, I pray and I pray for some of those. Someone who is salty with us, I won't say who, our first single back commented some really kind of hateful, like flagrant stuff, like trying to be hateful, completely unconstructive.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure you've experienced that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I love that shit,
Yeah,
though, bro.
right. So
I love
live
that shit.
on that shit now,
love it.
right? And dude was like, "Oh, I love this song. It's great for wanting to fall asleep. It's just so boring, So literally, we
How
were
original.
Yeah, right. So here we are thinking to ourselves, "Yo, Inhuman Hands sleepwear, like Inhuman Hands pajamas and like blindfolds and like nightcap and stuff, like."
I would buy a death metal nightcap.
Dude, I'm glad you think so. We're fixing to do it. We've been, boys, I'm making the executive decision. We are making official Inhuman Hands sleep.
That would be fucking
Because of this
amazing.
comment, dude. And they're all on ads, so they don't like appear on our profile anymore, or else I would literally be here going back with you and like, look at what fucking dipshit here said, right? I had some dude on our Instagram not too long ago was like, oh, drums sound like dog shit or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then he responds and he was like, your wife's dog shit in bed. And I was like, oh, okay, so you don't like my music, so go ahead and attack my girlfriend.
Right.
And you're holding a gun in your Instagram profile picture.
Hell
like,
yeah.
Sit the fuck down,
Hell
bro.
yeah.
Like, come on.
People on the internet are funny, bro. Like, so...
Bro, they don't got any fucking filters, bro. It's like so many people on the internet are willing to say things through a keyboard, through a screen that they would not say.
I was going to say, in real life, they got filters.
Right.
They got 10 different filters on their mouth the moment you see them in public.
Let's see these people go to, like, people who shit on Slipknot or, like, shit on, oh, I don't like the X, Y, and Z band's new stuff, right?
Yeah.
Go to one of their shows and say that during a quiet part. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? Go and, like, go be in line for that show and, like, loudly voice, like, I think new Metallica fucking sucks, or whatever your dumbass dog shit opinion is, right? And you will get a response, and it will not be the one you want.
Yeah.
And,
No, I agree because like I don't comment on things just because I think that's fucking stupid in my opinion. Unless it's something supportive, I just don't really give a shit.
If you don't like it,
just go away.
literally
just
fucking
don't,
move on.
Like don't. If you really, that's the funny thing you say that actually. If you don't like something that someone's putting out on social media, the worst thing you can do for them is scroll away.
Right. And not give it any
Because
attention.
adding a comment, a save, or whatever,
Right.
your engagement helps them. So if you really don't want to do anything for them, scroll away.
Right. No, we have this perfect, I saved it. I seen it on the internet. I have the best response. This guy, one of the other ads, he said like, oh, that's garbage, da-da-da-da-da. Get this off my fucking timeline.
Yeah.
And we just responded. It's like this anime waifu making like a very provocative face.
Yeah.
Right. And it just says, engage me harder. I got to credit Steve-O and Steve-O's wife, Liz, for that one.
That's funny.
But man, it's just perfect. And then there was this other one that was like, man, all these dollar store bands sound like dog shit. Like they're all so bad. And I had this one that was like a golden trash bag in a pile of like just other like normal trash bags. And it was like, when you're garbage, but you're still the best. Yeah. You got to have creative responses for these people. You know, I'm sure much like the heckling class that you did, you've got to be able to take it as it comes. And the way I see it, if you ain't got haters, you ain't doing something right.
Yeah, and because a lot of people like the stuff that I've experienced, I haven't had a ton, and I don't think that's for reasons like so many people like the podcast. I think it's because not enough people have seen it yet.
Right.
I think it's one of those things, you know.
It's the same kind of thing with the band, bro.
And I remember very early on, I got a comment. This is like on episode. No, I got a message. This was on like episode like 9-ish. Right. Real early on, we're still doing this in my garage, and I get a message from a friend of mine's girlfriend's friend. Yes. Yeah. So it's a couple of circles removed, but it's still like in the periphery. You know, it's not some random asshole on the internet. And what they had said, they're like, you're a fucking bigot. You're a transphobe. You're like this, that, and the other. Like very... Right. It's like very... it's the traditional talking criticisms for the hyper left, right? Right. For the very hyper left of the political aisle, like if you want to shit on somebody generically, you'll throw out these terms that used to have meaning, right? It's like the racist, transphobe, homophobe, you know, those terms. And I was like, okay, I was like, I'll engage with you because I don't know you, but if I wanted to find you, I know how to. You're friends with my friend's girlfriend. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like if we might run into each other one day. Sure. So I was like, what makes you say that? Sure. That's all I said. What makes you say that? Well, I watched the and this is what I was like, did you watch the whole thing? No. I was like, okay, fair enough. And I didn't go in, right? I didn't want to go in on her. So I was like, okay, well, you're more than welcome to add to the 20 views I have right now. Right. You're more than welcome. Yeah.
It's like someone's like, oh, I listened to your album and it sucks. It's like, cool, dog. You're like one of 2,000 people to spin it. And like, thank you. Yeah. Right. Thanks for watching it at least.
So I was like, listen, if you are that concerned about how I may or may not feel about things, come hang out.
Come on the show. Let's hash it out.
Yeah. I was like,
men about it.
Well, I was like, it was a chick. Funny enough.
Still, let's be formal about it.
Well, I don't know what if you're watching, I don't know what you identify with, so I'm sorry if I misgendered you, you fuck. Rip. But I was like, yeah, if you want to come hang out, we don't have to do it on camera. We could do it on camera. I don't really give a shit. You could be my first criticizer that comes on the pod, whatever. Right. Crickets. I was like, all right, sounds good. Perfect. Right. That's all I needed. And then the second one that I got was kind of recent. This was like maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago ish. I got this as a direct message on Instagram, and I just left it in my request. Sure, but I read it because I thought it was funny, and so
I've got about 15 of those.
So you don't
skeletons in the closet.
Oh yeah, so you don't have to be fucking Sherlock Holmes to figure out what logo my fucking podcast is lampooning.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think
it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. But you don't have to be an internet detective to figure it out.
My 50-year-old parents would see it and they'd be like, OnlyKings? And they would at first they'd be like, really? But then they'd be like, it's funny. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's very recognizable.
So I get a message and it was like 4 separate messages that got progressively longer. Oh, no. Right? And I was like, okay. And basically the gist of it is that so verbatim one of the messages said that making OnlyFans jokes is little dick energy. That was one of them. And then this person, because again, I'm sure she's got like
let's not misgender.
Yeah, I'm sure she's got like 15 different genders, but and that's just going off her Instagram profile that has the whole they, them, zer, zen, like right. That stuff. So I'm not even making fun. I'm just making reference. So then she goes into about how like I don't support sex workers and I'm bringing them down. I don't do anything for them. And so I read that and I was like, okay. Let's remove the fact that I've had content creators on the podcast before. Right. Let's call them content creators.
Mattress actress.
Yeah, exactly, right? I've heard that in a long time. But yeah, let's remove the fact that I don't give a fuck what people do with their lives, and I've actually spoken to a few.
Hey man, those chicks, they get a bag doing it.
Well,
and it's not easy work.
Some chicks do, but there are a lot of ugly chicks that don't, and they sell they coochie on the internet for $5.99.
Yeah,
and that's between them and God, and they can live their lives. I like making jokes, but I'm not belittling. I'm just calling out facts.
Hey, if that's what they want to do.
But exactly, that's what you want to do. It's what you want to do. But yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I'm down. But yeah, so my whole thing though is like, let's remove the fact that I do speak to these people. Let's remove the fact that I do my best to not be bigoted fucking at all.
Right.
And like I have my own beliefs that definitely stem from my religious background, and I'm not a fucking saint either. Right. So I certainly don't punch down anybody.
Saint on Sunday, sinner on Monday.
Yeah.
Some of these people.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like, and anyone who I would like to think that anyone who has either listened to enough of this or known me for a while, sat down a little bit for a while, I have no true hateful bone in my body.
No, you come off as a very level-headed, very reasonable person.
I try, man, because even like, in my opinion, like, I've stopped saying it over the last year and a half or so, but like, I really would like, I used to say this a lot in the beginning, I really would like to sit down at one point with like an ex-Klansman or like like a super like, whether they're still actively feeling this way or they used to feel a certain way about a group of people.
Of any kind of like values.
Yeah, if I could create like a safe environment to do so.
Sure.
I'd like to sit down with someone like that and be like, what's the thought process, man?
I could tell you right now what the thought process of being a metal music extremist is like. I could tell you that.
And we can extrapolate.
We could literally extrapolate, yeah. I, hot take, feel like people who listen to metal music are generally more intelligent than people who do not.
That's a study, though.
That's
No, I've read that somewhere, that like the average...
It is literally proven fact.
Yeah, like the average IQ of death metal listeners is higher.
It's like 10 points higher than...
And they sleep better, they retain information better. It's something like, because listening to the death metal, it spikes your, it's not cortisol, it spikes something in the fucking brain.
Is it dopamine?
I don't think it's dopamine. It's something that makes you,
shit does.
It's something that makes you smarter. This is not a good case study, but I promise you, they're out there. I promise you, they're fucking out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying.
Oh, dude, like people who listen to like heavier music in general. If it's Bad Omens, if it's fucking Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Anywhere on that spectrum, right? I feel like people who listen to metal music, for the most part, there's always extremists, right?
Yeah.
People who listen to heavier music are usually more rational. They're usually easier to get along with, even before you include or involve music, right? If you and I, dude, if we met in the street and I seen you wearing a To The Grave shirt, I'm going to strike up a conversation with you because I'm also heavy. But like, if you and I bump in, if I spill a drink on you at the bar, without knowing that you listen to heavy music or something, I feel like you're going to have a more rational reaction.
It's happened to be multiple occasions. Sure. I mean, it sucks, but it's like, best case scenario, they spill my drink and they get me a free one.
Right.
That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, I just go to the bathroom and, all right, we're good. Right. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Who cries over spilt milk?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. Like, people who listen to even heavier genres of music, like people who listen to like hardcore trap, people who listen to very like intense like club jazz or like bluegrass kind of music. Like,
Yeah, you said very intense club jazz, and the immediate picture that went to my brain was Ron Burgundy playing the jazz flute
Right.
in his off time.
I was thinking more like the kind of music from that movie Whiplash, right?
Oh yeah. No, I know what you're, but my
Right.
brain is stupid, and it went to Ron Burgundy.
I love,
Dude, but Whiplash is so good.
well, that escalated quickly.
I love those movies, but Whiplash is so good.
Top tier movie.
Such
for sure.
a
J.K.
freaking-
Simmons
yeah.
is one of the most underrated actors of all time.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think he's
love
finally getting his
J.K.
due
Simmons.
recently.
He started getting his due with all them. What's the insurance company? He finally started getting a bag on that. You know they was paying
yeah.
him good.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, he's extremely talented at because he's very physical with his acting.
Right.
But then, have you seen Invincible?
no, I haven't.
Oh.
Wait, was that the football movie?
No. It is a football. Okay, yes, it is a football movie with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I've seen
But
it.
there's an animated show about superheroes on Amazon.
Oh,
Invincible.
I've been told it's really good.
It's phenomenal.
Okay.
The first episode's a little rough.
Right.
You have to. It's the setup and it's all that stuff. But
Name a show where the first episode's the best episode.
right. No, exactly. Like even the first season of Breaking Bad is trash.
Oh, dude,
Cheers.
first 2 seasons Breaking Bad. Dog shit.
Yeah. Well.
Not to get off topic.
No. Yeah. No. I've only seen Breaking Bad all the way through once.
It is
So
a
it's hard to
phenomenal
recall.
watch.
I really only just think about the fourth season, the last two part, like
Oh,
just part
man.
1 and part 2 of season 4. But anyway, Invincible is amazing, and you need to check it out because
Absolutely.
J.K. Simmons, he's a play on Superman. His name's Omni-Man, and he's really great.
I love it already.
Phenomenal performance. Anyway, but yeah, it's interesting because there's even still with how, because I feel like deathcore, heavy metal in general, like the blanket statement heavy metal,
Sure.
has
People
gotten
don't realize that heavy metal anymore with all these subgenres and different sounds is a very broad term.
yes, yeah. So
It's-
anything with like just anything that could be, let's say 5 to 8 years ago, gets deemed as violent music.
Sure.
Right, has become insanely, like, a lot has become almost mainstream.
Right. It's very
Right?
widespread.
Like
now.
you'll find traditional alternative or rock bands incorporating like a fry scream or just
Right.
screams in general.
No, absolutely.
Kind of like gearing towards that. And so even with how popular this has gotten, there's still stereotypes of people that listen to that type of music, people that wear like the violent looking t-shirts, the
Right.
scary looking t-shirts.
Sure.
That they're angry, mean, violent people, that type of thing. When in reality, it's quite the opposite.
Absolutely.
It is. It's like going to the gym and like the biggest roided out guy there. You think he's going to be an asshole, but you go and talk to him. He's the nicest guy around.
Right. He's like a
fucking teddy
surgeon
bear.
that saves kids or something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, he's a
No,
teddy bear.
Exactly. And I, unfortunately, as a tattooed heavy music listener and writer, I feel like there's people who get profiled that don't deserve it at all, like racially, sexually, so on and so forth. But I feel like my bandmates and I, we kind of look like each other to an extent, right? Facial hair,
Yeah.
tattoos, a band shirt that may or may not have some kind of like profound imagery on it.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Right. Sure.
Death and blood and guts and violence.
Or
and,
just like a very like pointy kind of lyric from the song, what have you,
Yeah.
right? People, the common person will look at that and they'll immediately think, oh, that's probably like a violent person.
he's a
Or
Satanist.
like he's in a cult, or he probably like sacrifices goats on an altar, which I would. That sounds fucking awesome. But
sounds like dinner. What's up?
people like us have been profiled that way before. Like if you and I were to go to like a Catholic church service and sit down,
Yeah.
even if we wanted to be like devout and pious and like be 100% present, like tell me that Bertha 2 pews down wouldn't be like beaming you
Eyeballing
the
you.
fuck down, bro.
Well, I remember growing up going to church. I didn't have like super like heavy t-shirts or anything like that back then when I was little.
allowed to wear
but-
anything but a collared shirt to church.
See, but I was like, I always really wanted to wear like an Avenged Sevenfold shirt. But
Right.
even that was too
dude.
extreme for church.
I
Even
had
though
a-
it was just like a couple of skeletons, a stylized logo.
Yeah, I had a buddy who had an A7X shirt that had a shout out Jeff if he's watching. I had a buddy who it was an upside down cross with skulls that looked like the members had their hair.
Yeah,
it was one of
yeah.
the cool. And then under it said, "God hates us."
Oh, for Nightmare.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great song, great album. But you know damn well that
Yeah.
someone who saw him wearing that out in public, like, looked at him and was like, "You kill children,
Right, Satanist.
You do all these horrible, terrible things, despite what I even could like think about you. If like imagine." You wear that shirt and you go to like fucking Cracker Barrel or something, right?
Oh, I'll wear this out in public and I'll
Right,
get looks
and
for
people,
sure.
people are beaming you down for sure. But like, imagine if you had a collared T-shirt on,
Yeah.
yeah, or like something that covered your tattoos.
But then, like, the coolest thing about wearing stuff like this out in public, I'm sure you ran into this too,
Yeah.
where there's people who recognize it and like, oh shit.
The coolest thing. So I listened to this band called Currents.
Okay.
I'm
Oh yeah, Currents. Yeah.
I'm fucking
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah, I
are
fuck
my,
with them. Yeah.
They are my favorite band by far and away. Like, I didn't think anyone could ever eclipse Rush. Sorry, Dad. My dad, a big Rush fan, but man, Currents, favorite band in the world, right? So I've got this tattoo. It's like the moon with a little skull on it and then 3 teardrops. And I work at an HVAC job where I am on a sales counter for a good segment of the day,
Yeah.
helping people who may or may not be into like the heavy music scene.
Yeah.
And they see my tattoos, they see this, and they see the skull on my hand, and I feel like people, you know, and this could be wrong, this could just be my own bad premonition, but people look at me and they're like, what the fuck are you? Like,
Well, see, I feel like okay, so you may be right to a degree, but I would say if it wasn't for the hand tattoo,
right.
because there's still so many stigmas about that.
The stigmas around tattoos and like what it means to look professional are so stupid.
No, it's stupid. No, I genuinely agree with that. Like it's not the fucking 1940s anymore. Even if it was the 1940s, you guys were getting hammered at 2 p.m. in your offices anyway.
Right.
So what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
and
exactly.
And if it's what, like, I will say, you know, it's one thing if you have like, and this is where like the conservative and the libertarian in me kind of clash.
Sure.
Because I am all for people making their own decisions, doing what the fuck they want. As
Right.
long as it's not hurting other people, live your life.
Yeah.
But you do invite criticism if you have like overly vulgar tattoos,
Right.
Or
Exactly.
overly like vulgar, sexually explicit, you know, shit like that.
Right.
There are gonna be people even today that will look at, let's say you have, because even like I think there are really beautiful tattoos that you can get of the classic like pinup like naked woman,
Right.
That can be in taste,
Right.
It's how it's designed, it's how it's done, the execution.
The meaning behind it.
Yeah,
Right.
there is that for sure. But then, you know, if you get fuck tattooed on your knuckles, if you get like I don't know, if you get like cunt tattooed going this way,
Right.
I've seen that.
Something very vulgar.
Yeah, or
very,
you
like,
get-
flagrant.
Yeah, you get something very like explicit like that, or any other kind of like sexually explicit things openly tattooed on you. Live your life, support you as long as you're happy, whatever. But you do invite criticism,
I would agree with that.
and some of that criticism may or may not be well founded.
Sure.
But these are also the decisions you make.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I will say, I didn't get any tattoos until I moved out. My mom asked, "Hey, you ain't getting no tattoos? You live under my roof?" And I was like, "Word, you know, that's cool." I moved out that summer. I got this tattoo as my band sigil.
Yeah.
Right. 2 weeks later, I got my other band's like main imagery,
Okay.
and then about 2 months ago, I got this.
Nice.
And I feel like before that, before I had any tattoos, like people in public, they'd see me and like just some kid, right? Some idiot buying beer at the gas station, what have you, pumping gas.
Just a guy.
Yeah, just some guy,
Yeah.
right? And now I've got these tattoos, and even though I feel like they're all quite tasteful and like very personable for me, like I have opened the door for people to look at me almost like a criminal.
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't either, but I don't know. I feel like I feel the public gaze.
I think it's a lot of self-talk, dude. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah, could be.
I think it's a lot. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a lot of self-talk, and I think because tattoos now are becoming so
way less
like
taboo.
normalized,
Yeah.
and people are a lot more accepting of it. But I do think the last acceptable thresholds that kind of need to be gotten like broken through are the face, hand, neck.
Right.
You know,
would agree.
I really think so
Yeah.
because
Part of
it's
what
like,
made me want to get this on my hand was because it's something I love.
yeah,
Something
well, exactly.
I want to be able to see it.
Yeah,
You know, I know people get tattoos like on their back and shit. It's sick, but
yeah.
I can't see it.
No,
bro.
fair enough, dude. I forget that I have my back tattoo sometimes.
Dude.
I forget
I
sometimes.
would too. Yeah.
and I'm like drying off in the shower. I'm changing my room. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
I didn't make that decision.
Skin's a little rough back there. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. But yeah, no, I think it's a lot of self talk, dude.
It could be. And it could also be that there are people in my family who, once I got tattoos, they immediately were like,
Yes.
there was someone, I won't say who.
No, it's people in your immediate circumference.
Sure. Someone in my immediate circle, I was
Yeah.
like, hey, check it out. I got this tattoo. It means a lot to me. You know, it's very personable. And I showed him. Very next thing she said, she said.
They.
Yeah, right. How's work going? What's it been like at work? And I was just like,
Rough transition.
inside, I was just like, fuck.
Like, what are you insinuating?
I'm gonna just go ahead and roll my sleeve down now, like. But I don't know. There's just this stigma around people that listen to heavy music and people that, because prove me wrong. Like I would say that like a good 60% of people in like the metal scene are tattooed.
More than that.
At least.
More than that.
Right.
More than that.
There's an unfair public stigma around those people.
Well,
and around like the way they look and the way they dress.
I think it definitely depends where in the country you're at, because here in Albuquerque, the metal scene is thriving.
It is.
It's been that way, right? And a lot of it, at least from what I can tell, a lot of it is because I think that's one of, if not the number one genre of music listened to by Native Americans, is heavy metal.
No, metal is
Like,
very popular among the Native American fans.
I'm convinced that it is. And so, and that's not just because of like friends of mine that I have that are Native American. It's going to fucking metal shows everywhere from Isleta to Launchpad.
Extremely passionate.
They all show out.
I love it.
Which is fucking awesome.
I absolutely love.
Yeah. So you mix that, and then you start, I think now post COVID, I think, and I can speak for myself when I say this, like, I think people recognize what got taken away from them.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to like going out, because in a city like Albuquerque, you know, it's like, do we really want to go to Anodyne again? Do we really want to go to wherever again? But then it gets taken away, and it's like, man, I could really go.
I would give my left nut to go. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So now that everyone's able to go out again, venues, whether it's for music, whether it's for fucking stand-up, these venues, everything, again, from like Launchpad to Sunshine to the local breweries, they are really picking up the slack for the lack of venue space here and putting on shows for people.
Right.
And which I think is awesome. So, and because people are also showing out for it.
Yeah.
And so, and it's only going to keep growing because Revel, I was just about to segue to that.
Revel. One of the coolest things that has happened for the Albuquerque music scene recently was, until recently, we had Isleta Amphitheater, and then directly under that, in terms of like capacity and size, was Tingley. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. I don't think Tingley's done many shows recently. I seen Megadeth at Tingley in 2010.
It's few and far between.
Right, exactly. So for the longest time, it was like Isleta Amphitheater, El Rey, right?
Yeah.
Those were, you're either big enough to fill up 10, 15,000 plus at the amphitheater.
And then more recently, El Rey and Sunshine,
Right, or you're going to El Rey or Sunshine, which are, I could be wrong. This is a guesstimate off the top of my head. I think both of those, I think Sunshine's about 1,000. I think El Rey's maybe like 1,100, 2,000.
They
I
hover.
could be wrong.
They hover about that.
Right?
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Odds are I am. You know, but now you've got Revel, and Revel is appealing to so many bands that might not quite be big enough to like fill out the amphitheater, but are definitely way too big for El Rey or Sunshine. Right. The last time I saw Parkway Drive was at El Rey in 2016 or 17, and it was uncomfortably packed.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't want to point the finger or cast a net, but I feel like it might have been oversold a little. And, you know, good for them. I'm sure they made extra money, but it was probably over capacity.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I had like you couldn't move.
Yeah.
You were in the middle of the crowd, and that's where the fuck you were.
You are also a tall ass motherfucker.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, but still, like, you had to fucking plow through people to get in and out of the crowd.
Yeah.
So Revel now, right? Revel, I think, is like 2,000-3,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It might not seem like much more, but there are so many bands in that market and at that kind of size where they're just too small for Isleta.
Keep talking,
they're
but
too
speaking
big
of
for
which,
El Rey.
one of those bands that are coming, I forgot to put up my banner.
Oh, sick. Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be at that one for sure.
I cannot wait. This will be my third, because I saw them when they came to Isleta with Slipknot.
Yeah, I was at that one.
And then I saw them when they came back like 2 months later to Rio Rancho.
Right.
They came with Atreyu and Motionless in White.
That's right.
And
who else was on that one?
Black Veil Brides.
Yep, that's right.
Dude. Black Veil Brides.
Black Veil Brides goes hard.
What the fuck? I had never seen them live.
I was at that show too, and I only knew one of their songs.
I was
blown away.
Because I remember being in like middle school and high school and liking them, and people would shit on them.
Right, they had that like emo girl kind of like.
Well, that appeal.
Yeah.
And I remember liking them and just like, well, I kind of, okay, what you guys don't, okay, whatever. I like their music. The guy's got a cool voice.
Guys anyway.
But seeing them live, that
incredible.
That dude's in his 40s.
Andy Biersack, is that his name?
It's Andy something. Yeah. But he's in his 40s, and he sounds like he does in the studio.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck?
When they played In the End, I came totally unglued. Bro, they were awesome live.
Yeah. So I'm seeing these guys when they come back here in a few months.
So right now Parkway
excited.
Drive, they're too big to play at El Rey now. They've gotten massive since they were last here. They've had a lot of international success, which fuck yeah, metal's getting metal, but just as a whole is getting so popular now, and I love
exploding in Germany.
It's getting huge everywhere, bro. Germany especially, but so they're playing Revel, right? Motionless in White, they're another one of those bands. They're probably a little too big, or a little too they're exactly too big for El Rey.
They're way too big for that,
right?
Yeah,
but they might not fill out the amphitheater, and they might take a loss on that one, right? So now they got Revel, right? Who else? Parkway Drive's hitting Revel. Motionless in White.
Of Mice and Men is coming.
Mice and Men with fucking Bullet for My Valentine.
Yeah.
Shout out 6th grade.
Oh my god, dude! I haven't seen I saw Bullet for My Valentine when they came in like 2016 with Slipknot.
Slipknot and Lamb of God.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah.
Bullet for My Valentine fucks.
I can't wait.
I
can't
Bullet
wait.
for My Valentine is like the perfect, like I was listening to emo music and now I listen to metalcore.
Yes.
Because Bullet for My Valentine.
Yes.
But I'm really excited, man. There's a lot of Cavalera conspiracies playing there.
Oh shit!
Shout out the boys at Tommy, our friends. They're actually opening that one. They get to open for the Cavalera brothers at Revel. That's
cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
And I'm drawing a blank right now, but there's so many sick bands that are coming through there. It's such a blessing to have finally a venue that's like right in between.
Yes.
You know, that there is such a broad market of bands that have the pull to fill out a room like that, but just not yet, quite not enough to play Isleta.
Right.
So now we have another, it's like Goldilocks right in the middle. Our porridge is nice and warm, but not too cold, right? So.
No, I'm very excited to see where Revel goes, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about the gentlemen that own it.
Yeah.
It's really a blessing because, like, look, Isleta's sick. Don't get me wrong, but it is a fucking drive to get out there, and it's
walk a mile after parking,
and then depending on what show you go, it is borderline life-threatening leaving that place.
Oh, no kidding.
Because it's 12 to 1 in the morning,
right?
And you're going down a one-lane fucking whatever. Maybe is it two lanes or one lane going down?
I think if you go through Universe, it's one lane until it becomes two. But if you go Bobby Foster, the back way, I think they have all three. They have 2 lanes going.
See, I'm stupid, and I always tell myself, like, I'm going to go the back way this time.
Dude,
but I always go down.
Anyone watching this, anyone listening, if you ever go to Isleta to see a show, you need to take Bobby Foster.
No, don't tell them, because everyone's going to do it now.
Dude, I'm here to plug the people, bro.
But yeah, it's borderline fucking life-threatening doing that shit.
Absolutely. And also, I won't mince my words. Fuck Live Nation. Fuck Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
Fuck these big companies.
You know it's getting bad when the government has to step in and say, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You're getting too corrupt for us.
Play nice.
Yeah.
The corrupt ass government.
Yeah, when the corrupt government has to call out a corrupt, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I 100%.
It's insane. And just because I haven't read too much about it, I don't know like the minutia of what's going on, but basically it's just a lot of ticket gouging at the end of it, right?
I have read extensively into this as a performing artist who has made an attempt to sell tickets before, you know. Not that I'm like at the scale of like a band like Disturbed who does go through Live Nation or something like that, right? But they are absolutely bleeding the artist and the fan dry as hard as they can.
So what's happening between shows posted and prices are set? What's happening in between that?
Basically, Ticketmaster goes, we think X amount of people will come. So this is what we want to charge. And naturally, much like everything else in 2023, it's expensive. But I go to buy tickets. I went to go see Disturbed, right? Disturbed, big ass band. Of course, they're going to do really well at Isleta. I was expecting to pay like $25-$30 for a ticket. You know, obviously with inflation, you know, I was expecting a little. Yeah, for lawn. Yeah, right, that's crucial. General standing room only, right? I would expect to pay like $25-$30, and I go to buy the tickets, and it says $29.99 per ticket. I wanted two. I took my dog, right? We went, and two $30 tickets. What's that supposed to be? $60, right? Yeah. By the time Live Nation piled on all their fees and all of their other shit, it was over $100.
That sounds about right.
And I'm sure that there's ways where you can get tickets without the fees or whatever. I know a boy of mine bought 4 for $80 or something like that. But still.
Yeah.
The consumer is being lied to. The artist is being completely bled dry. I guarantee you Disturbed didn't make fuck all on those tickets. I'm sorry. I don't want to guarantee, but I would speculate. Correction. I would speculate that they are not making a whole lot of money off the ticket sales, which is disgusting. They're the only reason that the tickets are being sold.
Right.
Live Nation.
The 20 plus years of work they've done with their music.
No kidding. They've literally dedicated their entire adult lives, be it intentionally or not, to selling tickets for shows.
Yeah.
Right. You being by proxy of being an artist that wants to perform in front of people, you have to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And I have a really just sick feeling in my gut that financially they did not do very well on tickets.
How packed was the show?
It was fucking packed, brother.
Was it cool?
That's 15K or more, I would say.
Damn.
Leaving the parking lot was a nightmare.
I'm sure.
So
that's good. Well, that's good.
Right, and that's amazing. I love seeing that, and I hope they made a killing on merch. Like any band that comes through that I love, I feel like I can't just go. I can't just buy the ticket. Currents, they came here, right? I bought VIP. I bought a shirt, even though they gave me one, and I left some money in their tip jar, right? I seen them in Denver the week before. That's how obsessed I am. I saw Currents twice in the same week.
That's sick.
I bought all 4 of their CDs, right?
That's sick.
Because I feel like bands these days, especially touring bands who are playing places like Sunshine, Launchpad, right? Bands like Carnifex, even the slightly bigger bands nowadays like Killswitch Engage, All That Remains, like the metalcore legends, Whitechapel, you know.
I would kill to see Whitechapel live.
Whitechapel fucks live.
I would kill to watch them live.
Even bands like Chelsea Grin, right? Pablo spilled some beans to me that I don't feel comfortable saying, but you know, even bands like that they've struggled because promoters and people and companies like Live Nation.
Well, there's so many slices of the pie they're taking out.
They want the biggest one, bro. They're the obese 400-pound kid at the table who can't just have the one piece of pumpkin pie, dog. They got to have a mountain of whipped cream on it.
Have you seen that?
Sprinkles.
That South Park where they get KFC
Literally.
And Cartman eats all the skin off the chicken and just leaves.
It kind of feels like that, dude. It kind of feels like that anymore, you know. I would consider Inhuman Hands to be very blessed that the arrangements that we've made with like local guys and people who throw shows around here, they've been very generous, you know. They've allowed us to make enough money so that we're not going into the red.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a lot, and you're certainly not going to fucking live off of it. But
right. But it's enough to keep the band afloat.
It's enough to keep the band afloat, you know. Let's say we spend like $1,000 on getting t-shirts manufactured, right? we did well enough at our most recent show that we made the money back and then a little bit to like justify it.
Yeah.
And in my mind, that's like, holy fuck.
Hey, you're in
huge.
You're
We're in the black, right?
Like you're profiting.
Exactly.
That's sick.
It's a profit, you know. I'm very blessed and very grateful that I'm in that kind of situation, but I just have this like intense kind of like sadness and like almost depression kind of about bands that who go on tour, they play their hearts out every night, you know. They don't have much of a crew. It's really DIY, and you know, venues and promoters in the vein of Live Nation are just
Gouging.
dicked down, dude, and it sucks. Like, artists deserve better, I feel.
No, I agree. And it's becoming the same thing with the film industry. Like, that's why
with all these
movies
strikes going on.
Well, the strikes are very valid for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, who knows what's going to end up like turning out of it? But like, how much money does it cost now to go to the theater? You know what I mean?
It's astronomical.
Insane. It's insane.
Remember Movies West on the west side?
Rest in peace.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? You could go see a movie for like a couple $. And
Literally.
they closed down because they couldn't keep up.
Yeah, literally the COVID
dollar
killed the
theater.
dollar theater.
Yeah.
And it's insane. And so like, because yeah, people complain like, oh, these big movie stars get paid so much money. And it's like, yeah, okay, yes. It's crazy to think that Robert Downey Jr. he got paid $10.5 million for 15 minutes in Spider-Man Homecoming. Now that's a lot of money.
Right.
That is a shit ton of money and probably disproportionate to the work that he put in. But think about so he propped up the entire MCU.
Right.
Effectively.
No.
Right? Effectively propped that up. But then if you look at all the money that movie made. Okay, here's a better example.
Zillions of
Just
dollars
kidding.
even.
Here's a
still.
better example. So Robert Pattinson, when he just did the recent Batman movie.
Right.
He's the star of the movie. Like, he is the guy carrying that movie. He got paid, I think, $8 million
Sure.
for that movie, $8 or $9 million.
What do you think their budget was?
But so the budget for the film was
$200 million?
Yeah, it was like a $250 million movie or so, and the movie clocked in about $900 million.
Right. And he gets
8 of that.
8 of that.
So it's like
It's so disproportionate.
it's all still going to the top. It's just our like as the normal individual, we see like the way I kind of make references. Okay, yeah, or relation is like we see the $9 million Robert Pattinson made, and we're like, really, you got paid $9 million to play Batman? I'll be Batman, bitch. Well, turns out, guess what? I'm not as talented as Pattinson, so that's not gonna fucking work out.
He went to school and has like spent many days and years.
Well, he's also
honing
been
a craft.
working since he was fucking like 15 years old and all that stuff. But the way that we see that 9 is the way he's seeing that 900 mil.
Right.
Where it's like,
Come on.
you know what I mean?
now.
So then, so the way that happens, I think, is the same way that these bands get gouged by Live Nation and Ticketmaster.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I love buying, obviously, I love buying band merch.
Right.
And so every 9th, Ice 9 does their merch drop. And it's gotten to the point where it's so expensive after taxes and shipping, I can't justify spending $45 on a shirt. Yeah. Like, that's not going to fucking I love Ice 9. They're in my top 5 bands right now, but it's not going to fucking happen.
Exactly.
But I look at the flip side of that, and it's like, well, why is the stock price for a shirt online $38?
Yeah, because when they tour, venues want a cut of the
are
merch,
fucking
which is
them up.
bullshit. Merch cuts at venues
Is
are
insane to
dog
me.
Shit.
It's insane to me.
Dog shit.
Yeah.
I say this. I'm gonna look at the camera for this one. Any venue out there that might be watching, if you take a cut of the band's merch that they manufactured, that they paid to make, right? That they paid for the designs, they carry around with them. Merch, dude, it's like one of the bulkiest things we lug around for sure. Right? The merch buckets don't fit in my car. My drum set fits in my car, but not my merch buckets. If you take a band's merch, if you want any little bit of that, you are an immediate piece of dog shit and you don't belong in this industry. The hardworking band that totes the merch, sells it, pays people to sell it, pays people to make it, pays people to design it. They are the rightful owners of all that profit. And if you take a single cent of it, 1%, I don't give a fuck, dude. You are a piece of shit.
It's shitty. No,
It is absolute dog shit.
And there's no real logic that backs that up.
No,
you know what I
none,
mean? Like,
right? The
why?
band drives traffic to the venue, so right, they're spending money at the door at the venue.
Is the
or
band
online.
is the band getting a cut of your drink sales?
Absolutely not.
Fuck no, they're not.
No, they're not. No, they're driving all these people to the bar, right? And that's the big thing when we've played like venues like Launchpad is like, hey, yeah, let us play there. We'll sell all these tickets. People will come see us. That's great for us. And then you got all these people who want to have a few drinks on a Friday night. That's great for your guys' bar. It's a symbiotic relationship,
Yep,
right?
that is exactly
Launchpad.
what my buddies in the slums of Harvard, they tell me the same exact thing.
Right.
They love us because we sell beer.
Exactly, right? I love the people at Launchpad. They have never, not once, even insinuated taking any money from our merchandise.
Oh, they're good people.
They're amazing.
I have heard nothing but amazing things from
everyone
Launchpad.
from that ownership group, from Launchpad, El Rey, Sunshine,
Yeah.
Moonlight Lounge, everyone who's ever been involved with those organizations.
I just went to Moonlight
notch.
for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Dude, it's awesome.
That's the cutest little fucking venue, dude. Shout out to my friend Lillian. She had a show down there.
Yeah.
And I went and checked it out with a couple other friends. That's the cutest little fucking place, dude.
So one of my first venue shows was actually at Moonlight Lounge with my other band, Nocturnal Curse.
Y'all were playing some fucking deathcore at
We were playing
Moonlight.
Nocturnal Curse is more like like thrash metal.
Okay, but it's still metal.
Right.
Oh, that would have been killer.
No PA. They had like the smallest little PA, microphone for the vocalist, microphone on the bass drum. And that was it. And here we are. We're like, it's Moonlight. We're just here to play. We had nothing better to do anyway. We're expecting 10, 15, 20, 100 people showed up. Dude, it was absolutely shoulder to shoulder in this little venue. I've got video of it somewhere.
Dude, we were shoulder to shoulder with like 30 people.
Yeah. No, it was like a wall of dudes in there. And it was one of the coolest shows I think I've played, for sure. It was just absolutely packed. Shout out Nick Vasco. He was running sound and the bar that night because he's just goated like that. And he was like, any requests from a sound perspective? And I was like, yeah, dude, peg the kick drum. Like, just make it fucking loud as fuck. And he did. He was like, to this day, him and Andrew Godfrey at Launchpad are like the two best sound guys ever. To this day, the only dudes who have like completely adhered or like have obliged me rather in like the sound like requirements.
That's so cool.
Moonlight Lounge, man, I've played there 3 times and that I think was the second time and it was easily one of the coolest shows ever. It's a great venue. I love playing small venue, playing big venues, Sunshine, El Rey. It's fucking awesome.
The intimacy's got to be nice.
Oh, but yeah, like smaller places like Launchpad and Moonlight.
Yeah.
We did a house show at Jace's house for my birthday last year, and we played out of the garage. And he's got this house where like you got the driveway, and the garage is like perpendicular to the driveway. And we were able to squeeze like over 100 people into Mans's driveway in the garage. And it was just one of the coolest things ever. The small intimate shows where you get to like get off stage, right? Because in a garage you ain't got no fucking stage, right?
Yeah.
You get done playing, and you get to just walk out to the crowd and immediately be like, "Hey, like thank you for coming." Like 90% of the time, it's most of your friends and homies anyway. But
that's awesome.
Part of what is so validating to me is like the people came, and I get to go tell them like, "Thank you for coming." Like this is my dream, and it's not possible without the people like you that show up. I could play every night a garage show, and if no one shows up, then what's the point? So it's just incredible. Small venues like that, goated. If you take merch cuts, you're a piece of shit. Fuck Live Nation. Fuck iHeartMedia Group. Fuck Clear Channel. Who else is on my shit list? That's about it. Fuck iHeartMedia Group. Fuck Clear Channel. Fuck merch cuts. Fuck Ticketmaster. Fuck Live Nation.
Dude.
Yeah.
And that's like, this is super selfish to say, I want To The Grave to explode and get huge.
Right.
But when I see their merch prices on RigingMerch.com and
Yeah,
they're not but they're not as expensive as other people. Like I got a sweater from them.
$50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
at least $50.
Like 45 or 50, where other people is like 70, 65.
Dude, the last time, one of my favorite bands ever, Killswitch Engage. One of the sickest bands of all time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I will die on that hill any day of the week.
Yeah, they're great.
The last time I saw him live, dude, a t-shirt was $50.
Yeah.
And albeit they were opening for Lamb of God at Isleta, big venue. Fucking fuck you, Ticketmaster. I'm sure they were getting a cut of that merch, and that's probably why their prices went up.
Yeah.
Artists already have to deal with okay, part of the merch sale goes to like our management. We gotta make this bread on the road, right? I got mouths to feed at home, right? And we gotta pay for gas, we gotta pay for food, gotta pay to have more merch made, right? Those are all little pieces of the pie. And then when you add, and now the venue wants 20%. Well, that makes it worse for the fans. It makes it worse for the bands.
Because it's understandable. Like the venues have to make money.
Sure. Like if
when you just you're piling everything else on, and then like these
terrible.
Well, what's crazy to me is like, okay, sure, Live Nation and Ticketmaster and all these online ticket sellers, they have to have big enough servers when like the once in a blue moon like mega stars like Taylor Swift or Harry Styles or Justin Bieber, like the big pop stars go on
Post
tour.
Malone.
Post Malone, because those
tickets for Post Malone at Isleta
are insane.
No, they're already gone.
Yeah,
like, I'm pretty sure everything's resale now.
Oh yeah, and so like I get it. With those mega stars, you need servers to support because they'll crash.
Right, and that costs.
And they might crash either way. Like, sure, why not? But other than that, like, it can't cost that much money to do what these guys do. Because at the end of the day, their bread and butter is maintaining what used to be maintaining relationships with all these massive venues around the country, but now their bread and butter is maintaining a monopoly on the industry.
Exactly.
Where it's like, we are going to snuff out every other competition to the point that we're at now that competition doesn't even bother popping up.
Exactly.
Like you might have, it's a ticket selling service that like, I don't know if you watch Andrew Schultz's podcast, Flagrant. It's a sponsor.
It rings a bell.
It's
Is it SeatGeek?
Yeah, SeatGeek. Yeah. Okay. Those guys. Like you'll have small ones like that pop up. StubHub. Yeah, they try to make a name for themselves, but they
comes big fucking Ticketmaster.
They get snuffed out anyway.
Yep.
So it doesn't really matter that much.
No, you said it correctly. It's 100% a monopoly.
Yeah, it's a monopoly on the industry to the point where a corrupt government has to step in on a corrupt industry or a corrupt corporations in a corrupt industry to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. It's as someone who's in a band that, whether this is like accurate to say or not, whether this is my ego or not, as a band that's getting bigger and starting to explore other avenues and like other spoils of being an artist.
Well, you've worked with bigger artists to the point where you have to figure out, okay, what are these guys having to put up with so that when we have to put up with it, we're better equipped.
We're ready to go.
Yeah, for sure.
No, and Pablo actually, he kind of spilled the beans on a lot of what that's like. And it is already enough of an uphill battle to meet with your homies X amount of times a week, to buy the gear, to find someone or to learn how to record your shit, mix and master it, and distribute it. Those are all already uphill battles. It's gotten easier. It's gotten more widespread. Like, I'm pretty sure you give the guys in Dream Theater like the same kind of audio interface my band has back when they were in the 90s, it'd be a totally different band.
Right.
It's become so much more easily accessible now. It is still a massive uphill battle. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of time, money, and I've said that already. But then you got these assholes like Live Nation and Ticketmaster and any other kind of corrupt promoter or venue, what have you, and they're only pouring gas on the fire.
Yeah.
Like, these guys got to eat. They've got like kids at home or like loved ones at home. Like if I go on tour, I can't not make enough money to at least like help my girlfriend and I like pay the bills, bro. Like, I can't do that.
I'm not taking a vacation here.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Work.
Right.
It's like, fun work when I'm on that like 45 to an hour long on the stage.
Right. Exactly.
But everything surrounding it.
Oh yeah, dude. 95% of being in a band is putting in work.
Yeah.
And 5%
is performing.
Oh yeah. And it's that 5%, of course, that's the cake, right? That's the icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
And that's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. I ran ragged selling tickets for our headline show. I was posting it like every day. I'm at literally every turn, every opportunity being like, hey, you listen to metal? Like, you want to come check out a show at Launchpad? It's going to be tight. Like, tickets are only $10. Like, watch. Come on out. Every fucking chance I had. And there's so much work that goes into it all for like, we played for like an hour and a half. It was epic, but There is so much work, and it is only made harder by people who are only looking to benefit off of the work of others.
Right.
And it's just
they're leeches. Effectively, they're leeches.
Effectively, and in a way, they're leeches, but like in a way, it's like you can't not work with them. Let's see Disturbed go on this big, massive arena tour with all their pyro and all their very high-end sound equipment and instruments and what have you. Let's see them do any of that without Live Nation.
Yeah, that's what sucks.
Sadly, it won't happen because they got this monopoly on all the venues.
Yes.
I'm sure I've made some uneducated claims tonight, but it's out of it's out of passion, right? Like
it's I'm sure a mega band like Disturbed can get it done,
but it would be so much harder.
But the amount of the amount of obstacles they'd run into and the issues they go into, and I'd imagine too that like again to get to the point that Live Nation and Ticketmaster have gotten to, they're not stupid.
No.
So I'd imagine they get to a point with a lot of these mega venues where they're like, hey, guess what? If that band doesn't sell tickets through us, they can't fucking play here.
Literally,
so
I'm
how
sure
many
they have done that verbatim.
Yeah, so how many limbs are they severing off for these bands? Like, you have to funnel through us or you're done.
Right.
Like, I'm sure you've heard of him. This comedian that's popped off recently, Matt Rife.
Matt Rife is hilarious.
Yeah, funny motherfucker.
Yeah.
He had to put his stuff, I think his tickets were through Live Nation.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
And because a friend of mine, she wanted to go, she lives down in, the Hobbs, Lovington area.
Okay.
So her and I don't know if they're married. Are they married? No, they're engaged. Her and her fiance, they were going to go to Lubbock to go see him. And the tickets, like the decent seats, while still being relatively inexpensive.
$400.
Yeah, $300-$400. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, look, I obviously have all the respect in the world for comedians. I really do.
Right.
But like, I'm not sure that I would pay $300 to $400 to see Chappelle.
Right.
I'm not sure that I would, especially now that we have places like the Mothership in Austin,
right,
that Rogan owns, where you can go down and see fucking Ron White, Joe Rogan, fucking Tony Hinchcliffe,
right,
Duncan Trussell, all these mega comedians.
Right.
You know, but do you know how much their tickets are? $50.
Right, exactly.
For a full night of comedy.
You get these privately owned sectors,
yeah,
right? I would love to see what's been great about Revel is I don't think they're working through Live Nation. And I'm sure this might be an uneducated.
Well, no, I bought tickets through them and it wasn't through Live Nation. I don't know who it was, but
you bought tickets for Ice 9.
Oh,
right?
fuck yeah, I did.
Yeah.
The minute they went up, I was like,
not
done.
Live Nation, not Ticketmaster.
No,
that's a W.
Yeah,
that's a massive. If you guys are listening, please keep doing it the way you're doing.
Yeah,
please just contract it out to Hold
somebody.
My Ticket. It was probably Hold My Ticket, wasn't it?
It was Hold My Ticket. Yeah.
Shout out Hold My Ticket. They are awesome to work with. They actually printed physical tickets for the most recent Inhuman show.
Oh, that's cool.
So having like an actual ticket you can sell is really legit. It's got the QR code on it that they scan at the door. It's got the little holographic strip.
I'd love to have a fucking physical ticket.
Is so cool.
That's sick.
Selling physical tickets with your band's name on them. Like as a musician, for me, that was like one of the coolest things I think I've ever done.
That's got to feel good.
It feels really good. Yeah, and as far as like, I remember seeing something in to go along with that Matt Rife statement you just made. I remember seeing the Cure's tickets when they announced their tour. Dude, lawn seats like the ones you'd get at Isleta should they have came here were like $400. And I forget his name, but the frontman from the Cure literally got on his social channels and was like, Live Nation, what the fuck? This is obnoxious.
That's sad, man.
Your tickets are so expensive. It's driving away my fans, and I will not have this. Lower the ticket prices immediately.
That's I mean, it's awesome he did that, but it's sad that it has to happen.
I don't know if that's exactly what was said, but that was the gist. Right?
Yeah.
And I think they actually bent, and I think they actually were like, okay, all right, like
that's so stupid.
It's so stupid. You want to know what's insane too is before I think when Taylor Swift announced her Eras tour, right? All these people want to go see Taylor Swift. And with good reason. She's like one of those mega stars, right? I was in Denver 2 weekends ago and she was literally playing Mile High Arena. 2 nights in a row, and they were both of those nights were sold. That's 80,000 people.
That's crazy.
80,000 people.
That's so crazy.
And I think even she addressed the prices of resales, and
she did.
even before all of
I saw that. Yeah.
Even before all of her tickets sold out, I think she even made a statement like, "Look, I wish I had more control. I just don't." And that's where we are, And to kind of brighten things up, there are a lot of bands, there are a lot of venues across the country who are fair to bands, who even go the extra. I saw August Burns Red at the Fillmore in Denver in March.
Shit.
That show was yoked.
That'd be crazy.
August Burns Red, Devil Wears Prada, and Bleed From Within on their first American tour ever. Right? They've been a band 17 years.
Yeah.
And it was so expensive to play in the U.S. as a band from the U.K. that they just couldn't until they got really big. Right? They're like 5 albums deep now. They're playing Wacken and Download, Rocking Park, all these massive festivals over there. And I saw them at the Fillmore, and the Fillmore had a beverage called the Mariana Trench, which, as you know, is an August Burns Red song. And when you bought that drink, they gave some of the money to the band. So you can't afford a $30 t-shirt. That's cool. Go get the $10 drink, and the band still gets a chunk of that. Right?
That's sick.
That was super cool.
That's what's up.
I've seen other things on social media, like not to push all the good stuff down. Like there's a lot of other really cool things happening in the music scene too. Like Spotify just raised its subscription price. People are speculating whether or not they'll pay artists more. That would be awesome. There's talk about legislation to make music platforms pay artists more.
Yeah, the streamers.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Like the ease of access for making and putting out your own music now. Dude, any dingleberry who has a computer, an audio interface, and a decent microphone, and a DAW, and like some good instruments, albeit that's like a couple grand worth of shit. But anyone who's willing to spend that money and that time and that effort can make some banging ass music, bro. Like all of the Inhuman Hands singles until this new EP that we're about to put out were all entirely self-engineered. We didn't spend a dime recording it. I mean, we bought new strings. I think one of the cables that went from the guitar to the interface went out. It was like $50, right? And that's all we had to do, right? I punched in the drums. Yeah, I programmed my drums. Let's fucking fight about it in the comments. I don't care. Like, it's just so easy. I've got pro sounding drums. Like, listen to my shit and tell me the drums don't like actually sound good, because they sound incredible. And it's that ease of access that's made it so easy for artists and bands to just put all their ideas to paper and eventually on the internet. And that's just so cool. Like back in the 90s, early 2000s, you had to go to a studio and drop like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have someone record you and mix it and master it. Now you can do it all in your bedroom. Yeah. Plini, Plini, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's like a instrumental kind of gent hard rock. It's like Polyphia, but with like deathcore riffs occasionally. Okay. Super sick. He recorded his first album, his whole first release, in his bedroom. Humanity's Last Breath, one of my favorite bands ever. Buster Odeholm, their drummer, he literally programmed the drums for that album in his attic. And like the common ear isn't gonna know like any otherwise. Right. And that's just so cool. Like it's just becoming so easy for people to access. And while it's also saturating the market, it's also just like everywhere you look, there's fucking banging tunes.
I count that as a win.
That's a W.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
The more creativity there is in the world, that drives competition up, right? So you got to get more creative. That just makes for better music.
Exactly. So what does Inhuman Hands have coming up? When does the EP come out? Your next show? What's coming up for you guys?
So we got a show. All I can say is it's in October. Okay. Details coming Monday. Oh, that's today. Shit, I better check on that. Mood. That's also part of what it's like to be in a band. Is like, oh yeah, it's coming on this day, and then you realize it's that day.
Because this will drop today's Monday. This will drop on Wednesday.
We got a single coming out Monday. No, But
this will drop on Wednesday.
We got a show coming up. That one's going to be really cool. And I'll details as soon as I have them. We're releasing an EP and consequently some singles throughout the fall. We have some really cool merchandise available on our Linktree. If you go to just linktree.com/inhumanhands, you can find all of our stuff, our merchandise, any streaming platform you'd use. We got some really cool music videos we're fixing to record, like professional quality music videos. Jared and I, our vocalists, we're currently routing a tour. And by tour, I mean like 3 or 4 days here.
Hey.
3 or 4 days here. That's more than we've ever done, right? That's
fucking
a W.
sick.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And Jason and I recently, the bassist from Inhuman Hands that I met through our Facebook messages, we're actually re-recording the Lucid Anomaly EP with the knowledge and all the gear we have now.
Nice.
And that'll be coming out soon. Support local music. Buy shirts. Just stream their music. Tell your friends, dude. It does so much. There are days where I wake up and I just don't want to do anything. Like chronic depression will take its toll. And I see someone sharing our music or someone saying nice things about it, and it completely turns my whole day around. Like being able to do things like this, come on a podcast and just talk about it, and having people like listen to it, like it's just the coolest thing in the entire world. The fact that I make music that even if only like 20 people like really enjoyed it and it turns their day around, like that's my job is done. My job is done. I've got more to do. I've got more work to do. I was about 200,000, 2 million, 20 million, 200 million,
Fuck
2
yeah.
billion more, you know.
Fuck yeah.
Get the ball rolling.
Oh,
I
yeah,
appreciate
buddy.
you having me on, man.
Dude, this was a fucking pleasure.
Awesome, dude.
Thank you for coming, man.
Absolutely.
This
is
was
super
sick.
Cool. Yeah.
And thank you guys again for listening and watching. And we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
OnlyKings.